Okay, for today's office hours, we're going to be going through first the Google Docs add-on. I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how this works. And the reason we're talking about this today is because we've got a very exciting promotion for the next month, the entire month of October. We are offering Google Docs add-on for free. Okay, if it's your first time trying it, we can give you the first month as a free trial, and we'll set the tool up for you. We'll provide any training that you need on it. We'll jump on a GoToMeeting and walk you through it so that you actually get it working, and you're not just watching my demo of it, but we get it working from your Google account to the website. So that's the promotion we've got going on this month. We really want to just get it in people's hands, kind of like we were doing with reverse publishing last month, and allow people to give it a test drive. So this is going to be coming out in tomorrow's newsletter. We're going to make the formal announcement then. But let's shift to the demo now. So what I have here, it's a very simple concept, and it took quite a bit of development to get it working because we had to integrate with Google Docs, and they have their own standards that we had to conform to. But it's really simple when you're actually using it. So here's the walkthrough. I've got an article here that I've written in a Google Doc. And so what you could conceivably do with this is allow freelancers, part-timers, or even your full-time staff, if they prefer to use Google Docs, then we can create a login for them on the website. When we do that, then we are authenticating their Google Docs account indirectly. And you'll see, I'm going to basically log in to the website through Google Docs, and that's going to authenticate this Google Doc, and then I can send it into the website and send changes and just keep publishing it. So I don't even have to log into the website directly. I don't have to be in the dashboard. We just have to log in once through the Google Doc, and then this article is free to be published on the site. So let's walk through it. This is my article. I've got just one image here, a very short story. Not much to this, but you can have multiple images. The article could be much longer. There's really no, it doesn't matter. It's just has to be in Google Docs. We don't have this working with Microsoft Word yet, but we're looking at possibly doing that. So then what you'll do is you're going to first download the Google Doc add-on. So that's a separate step. I'm not going to demonstrate that today, but it's a very quick process. If you've ever downloaded a Google Doc add-on, maybe you have a couple already. It's very quick and easy. It just takes a few seconds, and it's free and everything. So you would just download the add-on. Then it's going to show up in your list of add-ons under this drop-down. And so then you go to our hometown add-on, connect to WordPress. Okay, now this is the authentication step I talked about. It's very important that we don't just allow people to start submitting Google Docs willy-nilly. They need to confirm that they have access to our website every time they submit a new doc. So you're only going to have to do this once on each doc, but you do have to do it for each doc separately. Okay, so you want to put the URL of the site, your website in exactly. I recommend just copying from this, the URL bar, just so that you get all the HTTPS and everything exactly right. Okay, and then put your username and password in there, and that's just whatever your password is for logging into the website. Then we're going to click Set Up WordPress Link. So this is creating that connection between the doc and the WordPress website, and it's not a trivial thing. It is a sophisticated kind of API interaction. So it's not like this is not like email to post, for example, where you can just send it off. Because when you do email to post, it's just a one-time thing. You submit it and that's done. If you want to make changes, you got to submit a new, email, new article, delete the original, and all that. This is creating a connection so that I can keep sending changes into the website. So it confirms that I was connected. then what we're going to do is simply come in here. Now I actually, I did this as a test earlier, so some of this is already filled in because I already published this article on the site. But if I hadn't done that, then I would just have to select the categories, and I'm just gonna, it's all the same categories that are on the website, and that's also part of the connection, because if you're adding or removing categories on your website, this could change. So that's what was just established with that connection. It confirmed what categories are available on the website. So I'm just going to put it in one, but I could just hit shift and then click and do multiple categories, but we only really need the virtual conference one, because what I'm going to do here is get it to show up. Let's see, let's go to this home page. Here's my virtual conference category. I want it to show up right above this Jim Dickerson interview. It's going to show up at the top of this category. Okay, that's where I expect it. Now, by default, the edition is actually going to be set to draft. It's just kind of a protection that you have so that if you send something in without it being done, it's just going to go in as a draft anyway. So you actually have to select publish, and you can set an edition date here. You got to choose. There's no calendar drop down here, so I just got to choose 09. Whoops, we're now in October. 05. Okay, you can set your byline. You can create a subhead. I'm not going to do any of those things. And the featured image is automatically going to be set to the first image in the Google Doc, just like when you publish on WordPress. We can add photo captions. This is not something that I usually do, so let's test this out. Screenshot of video. That's my caption. And then if I had never published this to the WordPress site, I would just say publish. Or actually it says create article, but in this case I'm technically going to be updating an article that has already been sent in. Okay, so it's going to take a minute. Well, actually that was quicker than I thought. And so you get that confirmation message that it's done. Now if we go to, let's take a look at the dashboard here. Actually, there's the article in my dashboard. So I'm looking on the back end right now, but we're going to look how it actually displays on the home page in a second. Okay, that all looks good. Now, one thing about this that's really important is that you don't want to be really making changes once the article gets into WordPress. You kind of want to make all your changes in Google Docs and then send it in, because if you make a change here, it's going to be out of sync with what's in Google Docs, which doesn't make it like, blow up or anything, but you may lose those changes, because what if then you send it again from Google Docs, it's going to overwrite the changes you made in WordPress. So it's just the best policy to make all your changes. If you're using this as your workflow, stay in Google Docs for your editing, and then just keep sending it to the website. Okay, now let's reload the home page, and I'm expecting it to show up right at the top there. That worked perfectly. There's your featured image. We've got our teaser. And if we look at how this displays on the home page, it looks great. It looks exactly like an article that was created directly in the CMS, but this was all completely handled off-site in the doc. So we've got our image. There's how caption looks. Again, just the same as any caption on any image. And here's our full story. So now let's do a quick, do you guys have any questions on that before I show any more?
I do. I have two questions.
Okay.
One is, if you say I want to wrap the text around that image, can I do that in Google Docs?
Right. This is a great question. I don't experiment with this much, so let's do that. Let's try it. And this is a real-time test, people. So I don't know exactly how this is going to behave. I'm assuming it's going to just wrap in WordPress, but we'll see. So that's one change. So that's actually perfect. Let's just test that, and then we'll get to your second question in a second. So that's change I made in Google Docs, and then we can make another change just to add more text as a test at 12:30. Whoops. Okay, so that's my change. Let's update the article. We want to wait until we get the confirmation message on the doc. Although you don't have to keep this page open, you could go do other things, but I just want to make sure it worked. Now let's reload that home page again. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Perfect.
Beautiful.
It did work. Yep. Great.
Okay,
So,
and then
well, I just want to point out one thing. Look, you see how it's a little bit different than what you see over here. This is, I guess, just something to be aware of. It seems that this page is a little bit narrower than the article because we were able to wrap all the text on the right. It didn't go under the image, you know? This one it did. And that's just because this is a slightly narrower view. So I guess that's just something to keep in mind, that you want to have enough space between your images so that, you know, they never end up like being right next to each other or anything like that. It's just, it's going to take up the full width because it's all mobile responsive. So that's just like a very small note to make on that. So if I were to like back this up a little bit more, or maybe make this smaller, let's see if I make it even smaller than that. That's really small, but I can't get it to, oh, it's because I hit a paragraph break. Let's just make that all on one line like this. See, now that's all on one line, or it's all on the right. It doesn't really wrap. It's just on the right column. And then if I make that change, I got to wait for it to give me the confirmation. Now I know it's over here. Reload that article. Now it's just, it's the same on both the doc and the website. So that, I don't know, that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Anyway, Terry, what was the other question?
the other question is related to the login that you mentioned. When, say, someone who isn't staffed or maybe a field reporter, but you don't want them to have access to the site dashboard,
Right.
how does that work for them?
Right. Okay, that's a good question. I think it would be mostly something that's handled on the WordPress side. So if you have people that you only want to be able to write articles on the website, let's say, but they shouldn't be ever messing with the ads or pages or anything else, then that would probably be something that we would want to set up for you. In Ops, we could have James create a new user type for freelancer that only has access to articles, and then they would have the ability to publish. I think because we would want to do that, even though in theory they're never going to actually log into the dashboard because they're using the add-on and they prefer that method. We don't want them to ever be able to log in because they technically could log into the dashboard and see everything if we just set them up as an editor, right? So I would just say that you would want to create a new user type that is only has access to articles. As long as they can publish articles on the dashboard of the website with their user type, then this add-on will work for them. But if you have the opposite, what was that?
That was my question. Yeah.
Right. I guess this is good though, kind of exploring the edge cases. If you had the opposite situation where you had like a freelance salesperson that you only wanted to access Ad Rotate Pro to upload ads, but you didn't want them publishing articles, then you would need to create the user type for them to only access Ad Rotate Pro, and then if they tried to use the add-on, they wouldn't be able to do it because they don't have the permission to publish articles. So that's a very important point. Now I'm curious. I'm logged in as our hometown staff, but I logged into, well, oh, okay. It's just because my name for MCL is our hometown staff. Okay, that was just the other thing to note. Like whatever account you have created for that user, whatever their name is on that account or that user account, that's what's going to show up here because it's recognizing that they logged in with their email through Google Docs, so it's going to carry that over as well. That's just the other point to make really quick here. But yeah, I mean, this is super useful. I mean, you can do, I didn't really mention this earlier, but it's this side panel here controls all the same variables for the article as the article edit page. It's all the same information is right there. So you can do scheduling of the articles. You can put it into any category. Let's see here. Some things, I guess you can't do quite everything. Like, for example, you can't, let's see here. Yeah, so it's just all the controls that you need to publish on the website. But beyond that, it doesn't have, for example, the email broadcast function. You can't broadcast an article from Google Docs, you know, from the website. That would be something you have to log into. But that's actually a good control. That's a feature, not a bug. You know, we don't want freelancers to be able to send out to the newsletter necessarily, I would say. So that's something that you have to log in to the article, scroll down, and broadcast. Another thing you can't do here is use multi-site publishing from Google Docs. But again, that's a feature because we really, if you have a group of websites, you don't want a freelancer to be able to just send the same article to all the sites. What they would do in that case is they would take this Google Doc and they could use the add-on to you know, submit it to all 3 or 4 sites that you have, but they would only be able to do that if they have a user account, like a editor or a freelancer account on all those sites. So it really gives you just enough control in the side panel to publish the article, categorize it, get it on the home page of the site that you have you know, a user account for. So any other questions from Terry or Vera?
I do. I have another one.
Mm-hmm.
So if, say I have a staff of 5 people, I'm a publisher, everybody's using Google Docs. I can say, okay, everybody has their articles in by 3 o'clock.
Right.
Will I get a notification as a publisher, or do I just assume that everybody's going to be on schedule and I just go to articles? Say, you know, that they have to have everything in draft submitted by 3 o'clock. How does that work?
Right. Okay, let's talk about that. I think again, that's going to be something that you're not going to set up within Google Docs. It's not really a setting over there. It's a setting on the website itself. So I think what you would probably use for that would be edit flow, I think, because this is what allows for the notifications. So yeah, this we should probably do a whole nother office hours on this. I touched on it briefly last week, but if we go to notifications, then you would just say, I want notifications for articles. Let's see. So what does this actually say? You can keep everyone updated what's happening with giving content. User groups can be used to manage. Yeah. So I think then the editor would log into the website, they'd go to edit flow, and they basically say, I want to get notified for changes to articles, is what they would say. Any status change or editorial comment sends an email notification. So I don't know, is this going to, did I get an email? Let me just see. Hopefully I got an email about this.
I guess I was just assuming that there wouldn't be any notification of any kind, that a publisher would just go to articles at their, you know, scheduled time, and everything would be in draft if that's what they've set up as their kind of conditions to their staff.
Well, yeah, and that's what Vera just asked. Is there a way to only have the correspondence published to draft only? And I believe that is the case. I want to double check with James here, just to make sure, because that's not the way I have it set up right now, but let's see here. Let's ask James. I'm not sure. I think that would actually be most likely on the, why can't I open this up here? Let's just go to direct messages. Okay. Get these questions out of the way. Oops. Is there a way to restrict people submitting articles through Google Docs to only publish drafts? And I think just based on all the conversations we had with Euclid, that would probably be on the user type level. So you create a user type and it would just say anyone that is a freelancer, everything that they can just publish drafts. It doesn't matter whether they log into the dashboard and create an article that way, or if they submit a Google Doc. You know, it's the same. It doesn't matter to the system. It's just the system is looking at who is this person, what are their permissions, and if it's limited to drafts, then that's all that they would be able to do. That's my guess, but let's see what he says here. He's probably going to just say yes, but the details are kind of what I'm interested in here. So let's see what he says in a minute. Do you guys have any other questions for me right now on this?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, sounds good.
With Google Docs, so this is really helpful.
Awesome.
From a perspective.
Right.